I know.
Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to Puckett, the Stanley Cup Final Edition. And joining me is my co-host, Edward and John. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
I'm well. Good evening, John. Good evening, Will.
Doing good. Good evening, guys. Much.
So, lot to talk about. We're heading into Game 4. I guess let's get right at it, guys. What are your thoughts here? How it's going? I mean, Panthers are kind of going to keep it loose heading into Game 4. Do you think that they've? What do you think? Do you think it's it's in the bag for them? What do you think? I mean, I don't know. I know the Oilers need some lineup changes apparently, so they're going to look at that 6-1 beatdown. That was pretty treacherous there.
Yeah, I think we called it, really. I mean, they allowed Florida to get in their head. They took, they're taking stupid penalties. They don't like to play defense, that's for sure. When they get down, they panic, except for when they were at home. And I think we really need to talk about one of the best trade deadline signings, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in everything.
He is.
Main agitator, everything. I don't agree with the way Florida plays. I think it cheapens the game. Like Ekblad, when he got really low, came all the way across the ice for no reason whatsoever, to hip check Connor McDavid. I mean, it's just, for me, they like it. It's old-time hockey. Go back to the Broad Street Bullies. They allow
old-time hockey. Eddie Shore, eh?
Yeah, Eddie Shore, Bobby Clark, eh? But and for me, that's what it is. They did exactly what Edmonton doesn't do well. They got under their skin, and Edmonton just started to get stupid. Hopefully for the sake of the series, that was just a one-off, and they'll be able to rebound tonight. But for me, in my book, it is a must-win for Edmonton. I don't know about you, John.
Yeah, definitely must win. I mean, I think they are where I expected it, right? 2-1. Going into Game 4, huge game, because if Edmonton can win, it can be a best of 3 with home ice. It's huge. This is exactly where it should be. The 6-1 win, like I was thinking, the last year Edmonton beat them, I think, in game 8-1. So these games kind of like have their own. I think they leave them behind pretty well. Like, I'm not real concerned on Edmonton having any issues with that 6-1 beating that they took. But I will say one thing I don't know what you guys have noticed. The officiating's been really, really, really bad. First periods, the amount of penalties called. There was 11 Game 2 and 8 Game 3. They're minor penalties. And last game, I think it was Rodriguez, terrible call on him, the first penalty of the game. So then they did you could see the makeup call on Evander Kane for a cross check or whatever it was, but it didn't happen. And it then feels like they're chasing it. I'm talking about the referees. They are chasing that whole makeup thing back and forth. And then all of a sudden they stop calling penalties. Then it just stops. So the game goes from period 1 to period 3. They're 3 separate games in my mind, because you have penalty after penalty in the period 1. Period 3, the only penalty you're going to get is the puck over the ice, over the glass, basically. So I guess what I noticed most of all in the last game was I thought the officiating let it get out of hand. It got way out of hand with 140 penalty minutes. And, I mean, you can't continue to allow Florida to play the way they played for the last 3 rounds and expect there's not going to be that chaos at an end of a game. I mean, guys are getting the sticks cross-checked over their back. They're snapping. And that's great. I don't mind, but you got to let them play then. Then you just got to let them play from period 1 to period whatever. You know what I mean? Because then you're throwing all these power plays in there. I mean, Edmonton, and it's their own fault, but never gets going. You can't be killing penalties for 16 minutes out of a 20-minute period. Because McDavid and Draisaitl, even though they kill, I mean, they're shot though. So
Yeah.
that's my takeaway for last game.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you're Edmonton, you've got to find some solutions, and you got to find them fast. I mean, I know they're contemplating a goalie change. They just haven't been able to keep up with Florida. They're getting. I don't know, guys. I see it. They're getting kind of beat on all facets of the game, especially last game. I mean, that was a beatdown. What do you guys think about the Edmonton goalie situation? I mean, what's your take on that? I think if you're Edmonton, you've got to entertain the prospect of maybe having a goalie change.
I'm keeping Skinner in this game, unless it goes crazy, and then I got to take him out because it's that bad. But I don't think he was the problem. I'm not putting that 6-1 beatdown on Skinner. I mean, it isn't like they played good in front of him and he was bad. Yeah. They played bad, and it kind of goes hand in hand. So I'm kind of not good. I think it's a little, look, if they lose this game, you're going to go home, then I could see Pickard going in because now you're desperate. You're just looking for anything to spark something. Maybe Pickard goes on a miraculous run. But for me, I'm going to keep him in. Skinner, that is. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. I wouldn't make the change. I think you can make changes in the lineup that would be more effective on the play of the game. I just think that they're allowing Florida to get in their heads. I mean, every play, every chance they get, they hit, they push, they kick. I mean, I don't know if you have brothers, John. I have brothers, and they smack you in the back of the head. They do this, wet willies, this. Don't forget. I mean, Marchand was also told by the head offices to stop kissing people on the ice during the playoffs.
He licked them. Yeah.
He is A1 class agitator. One of the best trade deadline pickups. I just think they let him get. It's going to be hard. You're going to get a face wash. You can't react. You're going to get hit in the head. You can't. It's very hard not to react. But I think if Edmonton is disciplined enough, then they have a chance. I wouldn't do any wholesale changes to the goaltending because that's just absurd. I mean, some of the shots. I mean, give me a break. Come on. You have to play defense. They just have to. They have to play better defense. Period. And I don't understand why the NHL allows the Florida to get away with all the crap they get away with. I mean, Bennett should be suspended a long time ago. Ekblad should not be allowed to play in the playoffs. He's a druggie. I mean, it's just you take those two players out, and it's a different series. And they do have the chief agitator in Marchand, but I just think whatever they could do, man, they cannot sit in the sin bin. They just can't do it. It's not good for their game. If any way they can just avoid that, great. But I wouldn't make the Daniel Barry. I wouldn't make any of those. I wouldn't make a goaltending change just yet.
Happy Wednesday, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, Edmonton made some comments. I know their coach said, there was some missed penalty calls. He was talking about some goading tactics by Florida. In the other camp, in Florida's locker room, they said, there's kind of like a quiet confidence. I mean, they kind of, they don't feel at this point in time like there's a sense of urgency on the Edmonton side, but there's just kind of a quiet confidence.
Well, I mean, if you listen to any of the mic'd up players, Florida's laughing at them, audibly laughing at them as they're on the ice. I mean, they have just mastered that. Just ugly brand of hockey. They've mastered it. They've brought the Broad Street Bullies into the year 2025.
Yes, I agree with you. They lose this next game, it's done. It's over with.
Yeah, they can't come back. There's no way.
Yeah, it's done.
You got it.
And I tell you what, guys, I don't know. I think Florida is. I think you're going to see them.
The problem is they're not more talented. They just don't have the talent Edmonton has. So what do? They cheapen the game. Right, and which, if I'm the NHL, I mean, we watched game 2 where the referee went over to Maurice and said, "Tell Marchand to stop doing that." Right, you could read his lips perfectly. Tell him to stop doing that. He didn't, and there was no repercussions. For me, it's been so much slanted refereeing toward Florida for some reason, just in my opinion. I mean, you can't be ignorant enough as an official to always penalize the second person. You can't. That's just nonsense. If you're not bright enough to look up or huddle together and say, quickly look up at it was, that's when all that stuff stops. You start penalizing Florida for that, and then they're forced to skate, and then it's a different series.
Yeah, they have to stay. You're right. I mean, they got to stay out. You said it earlier. If Edmonton stays out of the penalty box, they'll have a shot. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, games 1 and 2, they were up for grabs for either team, right? One was double overtime, one was overtime. So I mean, they're able to play with Florida. I think they're right. I mean, it's just one game. I mean, if they're going to react to one game, then they're done. Then you know what I'm trying to say. Like if they overreact to being beat in one game, then they are done. There's no doubt they're done. But I
wins the mental battle. You're right, John.
But I have a feeling after watching Florida against the Leafs, it would not shock me because they really don't care about playing on the road. They could care less, Florida. I think they prefer it. If Edmonton, it wouldn't surprise me if Edmonton wins game 4. We have this best of 3, and Florida does what they do all the time. I mean, they end up pulling it out some way. But I mean, the better all around team is Florida, right?
Yep,
no doubt. But I don't want to overreact too much on the one game. I mean, because when you look through the playoffs, Edmonton defensively has been decent. Even games 1 and 2, they were decent. Game 3 got out of hand. I mean, it was a wildfire. I mean, they had 11. They had how many power plays? 11, Florida. Yeah. So you're not winning anything. And, and that hit with Ekblad, I'll tell you the truth, though, should have been a penalty of charging or something because I don't even know, the puck wasn't even there. But
it comes across the ice as well.
That really did. That changed that game. I think at that point, Edmonton now was looking to do more retaliation. It felt like after McDavid got lit up like that. So, I guess it served its purpose.
Not a hockey hit. Not a hockey hit. And that's what the NHL claims. Are same with the NFL. They claim they're trying to legislate that out, but again, they don't. And it, once you take the star down and you see the star fall, then you're on. You're playing on Edmonton. You're like, all right, I'm going to get these guys right. And then Florida wins because Florida comes up to you. Yeah. They hit you in the back when the referee's not looking. It's just so dumb. For me, it truly cheapens the game. I want to see the free flowing, flying Edmonton Oilers. I don't want to see the, kill 65,000 penalties. It's just for me, it's bad hockey. Those first two games I thought were great. I really did. They were flying, absolutely flying. And then we come to this one and it's like, oh, come on, really? So, and I forgot about the 8-1 beatdown. So hopefully, same as last year, it's just a one-off. And Edmonton comes out and wins tonight 4-2 or something like that.
Well, yeah, and I know that I know Knobloch has contemplated some lineup changes. One of the lineup changes was replacing Klingberg. He had that costly turnover in Game 3. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh, yeah.
To Sam Reinhart's goal.
Yeah.
Yep. They're talking about bringing in Troy Stecker in place of him.
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
Right,
yeah. I mean, he's they need to do something at this point in time because it's they're on the ropes. I would say they're a little bit on the ropes. I mean, it's still a winnable. They can still get back in this series, but it's it's a must win.
2-2 is much better than 3-1. 3-1, I don't think they have the momentum to do it. They might win that one in Edmonton, but when they come down to Florida, I mean, the entire city is going to be cheap shotting them. They're going to come off the stand. I mean, they just are because they can see they can't handle it.
From the stands are going to be coming down, cheap shotting them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're coming out of the stands. They're going to be whatever they can do. It's just I want to see. I mean, I just want to see free flowing, fast hockey. I don't want to see the nonsense that was yesterday.
Yeah,
but that's just me. Where do you live? That it was called the 70s.
And I thought it was weird that they had 2 days off in between here, not on travel, but in Florida. I thought that was weird, right? Why would they not have 2 days off heading back to Edmonton for Game 5?
Scheduling.
Yeah, weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're going against the NBA.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, because they don't want to have them on the same night.
Right.
So they have that to deal with. But I thought it was, you're shortening the travel, but you're lengthening the stay in the city, which is weird.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Hopefully they can take that energy and put it into Florida.
And I'll tell you something, John Klingberg, they got a lot out of him. He hasn't played in like 2 years. I mean, they, Toronto tried to rehab him. He couldn't rehab, so they let him go. And, they got a lot out of him. That change would probably be pretty smart to do. He might be, it's a lot of hockey for Klingberg, who hasn't played in, like I said, 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Get them rested a little bit.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, you guys don't think they should make a change with Stuart Skinner and bring in Picard? You don't think that's a you wouldn't do that? You think that's kind of a not at this point in time?
Only because I look at the mental side of it. They have so much problem with goaltending anyway, and to have a snap reaction or, like John said, knee jerk, I don't think that's the way to go.
I don't personally believe you should do that right now. I mean, like I said, it's 2-1. I mean, it's not
Right.
I don't know that I would necessarily do that. I know there was talk about it, but I don't think they're going to do that tomorrow night. I think Skinner's going to be back in there, and I
Maybe
mean,
that's the rest they need too. Maybe McDavid gets that rest he needs.
I mean, it's a full. That was a full team effort to lose like that. I mean, so I can't pin it on Skinner alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a full system, beating, and I just say it's not Skinner's fault. I mean, I'll tell you, I've seen it where it was Skinner's fault, but this time, look if they lose this game, I could really see Pickard going in Game 5 just for that thing. Now you get a boost. Maybe you get, like I said, he goes on a magical shutout run or something crazy, right? Because you'll be desperate then. You can't be The fans are desperate, but that team, you know what I mean? Like, they can't be looking at it like a fan is, because they got to act like they've been there, I guess, sort of. Well, so calmly going in.
And the other thing that Knobloch might be looking at, when you look at it, Pickard had that lower body injury in the Vegas series. He might be still dealing with that as well.
Right.
Well, they're going to use anything as reasoning, to make sure everybody saves face, right?
Yeah.
But I like John said, you've got to be the captain that steers the ship in the rough waters. You can't be riding the waves up and down. If you ride the waves up and down, you're going to capsize. Yeah. So I think that they steady it now, and it's just treat it as Florida did last year. Oh well, we got beat. We got beat 8-1. Who cares? All that matters is who's hoisting the cup.
I also think I'll give Edmonton this credit. I thought the way the game ended, I do think that's a pushback that is a good thing. I don't think it would have been great if Edmonton would just skated off and took the beating physically and, on the scoreboard. At least that was a good to push back like that. Good for them. I mean, I think you need that. Like, I think that is a good signal that they're still there and that game wasn't such a beatdown that they can't recover. So,
yeah.
But it does play into Florida's hands, just like you said, guys. I mean, that's just what they love it. They are laughing. Listen, I watched them against the Leafs. They did the same thing. You could see they were openly laughing during those games, and they did it again the other night. And they know it pisses people off, and they do it.
Yeah, I mean, what's worse? I mean, we've had people in our lives like that everywhere. Person that gets away with everything. I think the NHL could do a little bit better job and cut down on the mockery of the free flowing game, but maybe they don't want to. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the impact of possibly Ryan Nugent Hopkins not being in the and he's going to be a game time decision again for Game 4? He was a game time decision for Game 3, but he ended up playing. But they said, he has an undisclosed injury, and he's going to be another game time decision. I think he's probably going to play, but he didn't practice yesterday, and I don't think they skated today either. So maybe they're giving him the rest, that he needs to bounce back. But I don't know. I mean, that's another. You don't have him tomorrow night, and that could be another.
Well, you're definitely going to go in with. Maybe not 100% McDavid, so not 100% Nugent Hopkins would be bad, because they're both in the same line, or maybe it's gamemanship. I don't know. But at this point, if you're doing that, then Florida's just won the series without even without even getting on the ice.
Yeah.
I mean, you are seeing the miss of for Edmonton. This has nothing to do with an excuse, because it's not at all.
Oh,
but the Hyman loss is a big deal to that lineup, because I look at it, and Kasperi Kapanen's playing way too high up in the lineup. You got guys, things have really, they miss him. He's he's been a playoff performer, and he's that was a tough loss for them. But
Oh my God, yeah.
So if Nugent Hopkins doesn't play, I guess
Oh.
you would play him. We would put Jeff Skinner in there. I guess from what I understand, he practiced Tuesday alongside McDavid and Corey Perry. So I'm guessing he would be the guy that you would put in there to fill in.
Yeah, and you know, man, this is yeah, man. He's small. You know how I don't know. Hey, they have to. I think that'd be their. You're right, Bill. But I mean, that's not the. God, this isn't the series for him. This is a
Well,
tough.
he hasn't played. Yeah, he hasn't played since Game 5 against Dallas, and
Yeah.
So, but
Maybe
I don't
he
know.
brings a spark. I don't know, but maybe he's there to take on Marchand.
I'm going to say this: these are all signature moments for McDavid and Draisaitl too. So what they need to do is take it on their back and win. They're going to have to win this game. You know what I'm saying? These will be the guys that do it. I don't care who's around them. This is like these are the moments, right, where you become beyond just that guy who's dynamic skate, all that other shit. This is where it is. This is huge. I mean, this is where if those two guys drag this team along and get to a game 5 at 2-2, those are the moments where we start to think, oh no, these guys are, they might belong in that category with some of the others, but like this is a moment, man, for both of them.
Yeah, it's their one shining moment. Can they do it or can't they do it?
Yeah, I mean they did it last year, right? They tried. They almost got to the finish line, but they,
ended up one goal short. Yeah.
Yep.
They got to stay out of the sin bin, man.
Yeah,
got to give themselves a shot. They got to be disciplined, and it's very tough playing an annoying team like Florida. It is because they all play the same game. All of them do it. And they flop, they flip, they flop. They're so good at doing it while nobody's looking. Edmonton, just be disciplined. You only got to do it for a couple more. Take the next 3 games. Don't take a penalty, and let your talent shine, and they're going to win. I like their talent better than I like Florida's.
It's hard to be disciplined though against Florida. It really is. It's hard to, and I mean that's, that's.
Yeah, but seriously, the best discipline is raising that cup. That's the best discipline.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really and I did like the way they finished the game, but I knew they were going to do that. I mean, that's the only reason anybody stayed to watch the end of the game, right? Because you knew there was going to be some sort of response. I just wish that Florida had won some more of the individual battles that they had on the ice.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who I'm taking. I think I'm going to do Edmonton 4-2, Game 4. Why not? 3. I'll do Billy's Game 1 prediction. I'll do 3-2 going late. Florida pulls the goalie, and let's go with Connor McJesus on an empty net.
Every game has gone over 6, and every game has gone over the total. It's been easy if you're betting. You just bet the over. Always the over is not. So I'm going to say it still goes over. So the over is going to be either 6 or 6.5. So I will. I'm going to give Edmonton 5-4 tomorrow night.
I'm going to go with Florida. I'm going to go with Florida 4-1. They're just going to ride this momentum, I think. And I don't know. I just think.
Well, if you're right, the series is over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. It's done.
They can't come back from that.
No.
I mean, they might get, like I said, they'll get the win in Edmonton, but that's it.
What will be interesting is if they do lose, like Bill says, and they get beat again, like 4-1, where it's not even really, another beat down. And if they lose Game 5 and it's over, or they whatever. I mean, this is a story for another day for our show. But what does Edmonton do going forward? Be real interesting if this gets, you know what I'm saying? Like if all of a sudden the wheels come off here and they can't even push back. So that'll be a story for another day, I know. But that'll be
they're going to be at some point in time. I don't know. Maybe it's too early to make this comparison, but it's almost Buffalo Bill-esque, from the 90s. I mean, you got all this talent, you got all this, superstars, you've got, you're just laden with a
Well,
roster that's talented, but you just can't get it. You just can't push it across the finish line. I don't
well,
know. I mean, well,
it's like the Bills now. The Bills are good, but they just have a problem with the Kansas City Chiefs. They have an issue beating that Kansas City. Like they're the one. Like that's their. Like they have a Chiefs problem. You know what I mean? They have a Kansas City problem. Whereas I think like Edmonton has a Florida problem because they just. I don't know, man. Because they went through. Lost. Think of the teams they beat to get here, which we all thought were Stanley Cup contenders, but no one plays like Florida in that mix. So.
right.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. But you're right. What do they do? What do they do? If they go out whimpering, what do they do? If they go out or not? Either way, if they don't win the cup, they're going to have to, self scout, look in the mirror real hard, and really, imagine some sort of drastic trade of Draisaitl, or something of that nature, just to get more talent around, or multiple lines of talent. Get 2 or 3, 10 goals, double digit scores to make. I don't know.
Right.
Make every one of those lines dangerous, because right now when the what hits the fan, Draisaitl goes on line with McDavid, and they do it that way. They need a couple lines that are talented, to hold on their own. So either way, if they lose, they're going to have to look at that. If they win, it's going to solidify them in history.
And one last thing, guys, hasn't Sam Bennett had the best free agent? I mean, you couldn't be maybe the best of all time going into his free agency. I mean, someone's going to overpay for him because he's not going to be as good anywhere else but Florida. You guys know, what I mean. This ain't happening anywhere else. Nope. So, boy, he's made a lot of money if he wants it. Although I think he'll stay in Florida. But.
So, what if he goes to Edmonton?
That would be great. Yeah, they would have to give him. Well, he's going to want $10 million up there, right? Because of the taxing and all that stuff. So that's the problem, I think.
Yeah, but they'll have. I mean, Corey Perry's not going to play any longer. Come on.
No,
would true. You have a Bennett or a Corey Perry? I'd take Bennett every day.
Yeah. Right? Oh, yeah. Well, and now McDavid is up next year is his final year in his contract. So
yeah,
that's going to be a huge thing to see where he goes. But
we got Anthony chiming in. What combination is more likely, you guys think, for the Panthers to resign Bennett in Marchand or Bennett and Ekblad? I'm gonna say Bennett and Ekblad, but I don't know.
Well, in my mind, Marchand's got to get a payday. He's never had one, so this is just my opinion. So he's going to get it somewhere else. He doesn't get it in Florida. They're not giving him $8 million.
No, that's what I was just going to say. I don't think they're going to give. They're not going to pay him.
Marchand gets a payday. He probably deserves it, and someone's going to give him the money because he's still a good player. You see it. He's still playing.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know how they're going to keep Ekblad and Bennett together. But I guess if Bennett makes 4.5 now, so what are they going to give him? 8, maybe to 8.5 in Florida, where if he went somewhere else, it would have to be 10 if he went to Canada. So Ekblad, though, is interesting, right? He's probably the guy that could make $9 million somewhere, I'm sure.
Right.
As a first line, as a number one defenseman.
Do you guys think if Connor wins the Conn Smythe Award, even if his team loses, it's rigged, when it should be the winning team's player like Bennett or Bob or Marchand?
I got to thought. I think that there's no way they're going to give it to the losing team this year.
Yeah,
I think that won't happen again.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Last year it was warranted. I think he deserved it. This year he wouldn't deserve it, honestly. With Florida, someone from Florida, probably Bennett, for God's sake. This guy with 14 goals. My God, he's knocking out players. He took out a goalie and a half. He's done it all. So,
well, I don't know. Let me ask you guys something. Let's and that's a very good question, Anthony. I appreciate you chiming in on that. A lot's happened since we talked last week, obviously. I know you guys, both of you kind of thought that Edmonton was going to, we didn't really come right out and make predictions, but I kind of got the feeling that both of you felt like Edmonton, could win this series. Do you guys feel a little different now, or do you guys kind of feel the same? I mean, do you kind of think that, I don't know, maybe it's tilting a little bit in Florida's favor now? I mean, if they win tomorrow night, you're definitely sold on the Panthers winning it all. But I mean, where do you guys stand now? Now that we're approaching Game 4.
Well, I think we both said that if Florida had to take both at home, I think both of us emphasized that they had to take both games at home in order to give themselves a chance in the series, and they didn't do that. So had Florida taken both, I'd be.
Oh, and they
didn't. They split. But I think right now it's an uphill climb, and that slant is so steep right now for Edmonton. It is.
Right.
It is a must win. They have to win. Period. Right.
And I guess this is such a cop out thing to say, but if they win Game 4, I will still feel like I think they're a best of 5, a best out of 3, with home ice advantage. Yep. Connor McDavid and the other guy, Draisaitl. There's no excuses. Win the cup because you'll just have a best 2 out of 3 with home ice. You guys should win the Stanley Cup if you're the greatest in the game. Win it now. Bill, I'm kind of agreeing with you. This would be the time. Now you guys you're gonna have to drag guys along with you, right? You're gonna have to drag decrepit Adam Henrique and these guys. You got to drag them along.
Well, that's all you can do. And I'll tell you what, this is the legacy on the line here. I keep saying this. This guy's been in the league.
They know it
over 10 years, and this is the legacy on the line here. And I'll tell you what, you've got to reach down and you got to dig deep because right now Florida has the momentum. The momentum pendulum is swinging in their favor, and Edmonton's got to find it. They've got to find the solutions to their issues right now, and it's not going to be easy.
After the game, Connor McDavid tore into the team.
Yeah,
that's the reports are saying that he tore into the team and how none of them, not even himself, gave enough effort in Florida to make it a game. I mean, that shows leadership. Will they,
Oh, he's a good leader. Don't get me wrong.
I'm saying, to your point, will that resonate with any of them? Will that carry into Game 4? Will that carry into Game 4 for the first 10 minutes? Something like that.
I tell you what, tomorrow night's the game to watch. I mean, this is the turning point. Yeah, this is the crossroads right here for the Oilers. I mean, this is it.
Simply
go home.
Stay out of the penalty box, and you'll, like Ed says, and they'll have a fight. They'll have a chance. Just stay out. You got it. You can't give 11 power plays. My God.
Right. If I'm Knobloch, I just tell them, look, this is your revenge. This is your sweet revenge. Raising that cup is your revenge. Getting hit in the head, getting bumped off the play, anything in a Game 4 of a Stanley Cup series doesn't mean squat if you're going to get the cup at the end. Right. Now, if you're the type of person that can't handle that, you're not going to win. But if you can just laugh it off, and just let them do whatever they want to do and hoist that cup at the end, then you win.
Well, I agree. They have to have laser focus and discipline tomorrow night. They cannot, because it's so easy to let Florida get underneath your skin. It's so easy. I mean, they're one of those teams you can fall into that trap so easily, and it's
And that's where it's on your coach, right? Your coach has to get out there in the media. Your coach has to start talking about this constantly.
Yeah. Oh, did you guys real quick? There was a play. It was Pod Colson for number 92 for Edmonton. Sam Bennett buries him. Then it's in the Florida zone. I mean, nails him good. The puck happens to go back to that guy. He tries to he just completely shook him up, and that was the Bennett breakaway, and he scores. I mean, that's like where it is. Like he shook that guy up with the hit. Like and I thought that Ekblad did that not to McDavid, but to the team. And you're right, you guys. You just can't. It's hard, man. They know though. They played them last year. This is not any different. This is the same. I mean, I know they got different, but it's the same cast of characters. So they dealt with it last year. This isn't new to them. What I'm looking to see for the first time, I'm really going to say this: McDavid and Draisaitl to just carry it, and that's it. And win the cup for Canada. Win.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a formidable opponent standing in their way.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. But they're great.
He said that's the craziest stuff I've ever seen. One player, Bennett, hits two players, and down the ice he goes and scores a breakaway goal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Say what you want to say. Bennett gives them a spark too. I mean, he's he's just, and I know that they get away with a lot of things. I know that, but I tell you what, this team's they're a very unique team.
Yeah. But then that's on your coach to bring that up. Talk to the referees every shift. Hey, that's what you have to do. You take cover for your players. You can't let your players use it as a crutch. Can't do it. Right. You do that. You take that crutch away from them and make them play, and you're going to play better. Right. Hey, I got the referees this game, boys. You skate, you do your thing. Don't retaliate. I'll be on the refs all game.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a bench minor. Well, very rarely have I seen a bench minor to a coach, and they have to do something egregious to get a bench minor.
Right. I was watching someone breaking down the Panthers in the comparison. For them in the terms of their playing style, the 1970s Oilers and the 80s Islanders. You guys agree?
I'd say 70s Flyers, 80s, maybe Islanders.
Yeah, I was going to say Islanders were kind of like that too. They were a little bit chippy, and they had some guys on that team that were
Dennis Potvin in goal.
Yeah. I mean, they had some guys that were. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But 70s, I think it's more the
Flyers. Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
Oilers of the 70s. I don't even think they existed in the 70s. Not in the NHL, did they?
No, they might have. Yeah, WHL.
Yeah, they're in the World Hockey League. Yeah. So no, that's a good.
It is. It's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I'd say more 1980s Islanders. I would go with that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, didn't they have? What was that? Trache and Nystrom and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They were lunatics. They were.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I mean, like I said, they were a chippy team back then. They were they had there's battles between the Oilers. They played the same type of game. They like to be the agitators. And, you're saying the Broad Street Bullies. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
It's a different world. Saying.
Yeah. No, and hey, that's when they won back to back in 75, 76.
Yeah,
that was their MO, man. That's what they did.
I'll never forget the game they played against the big bad Russian army. They refused to come out and play. Refused.
Well, they never saw that type of hockey.
Yeah, and then the promoters like, you don't come out and play, we're not going to pay you. So they came out and took their beating.
Yeah, they weren't. They were finesse. They were finesse. And they weren't used to that style of hockey. And it was like, this is how we play it over the pond. It's a little different.
That's about it, William.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Next week
could be over.
This might be all wrapped up. Yeah, I was just gonna say, So, but we'll see. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Hey, we got Anthony one. I think the reason why teams struggle with Panthers is because they play a 200-foot game. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Agreed. Yep.
Very chippy 200-foot game, but
yeah. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.